Hello everyone, welcome to Interesting Stories. Let's begin. Sir, I'm sorry, but your name's not on the list. The words were quiet, but landed like a slap. The air around the first-class boarding gate held still for a beat. Eyes turned, a few murmurs rippled, a smirk from somewhere behind, and standing at the counter, Derek Hayes, dressed in a tailored charcoal suit, calm face composed, merely furrowed his brow. He looked down at the ticket in his hand, clearly marked first class, bold print, confirmation code. He'd booked it 3 weeks ago, after 3 sleepless days of negotiations in Dubai. All he wanted now was to get home, sink into seat 2A, close his eyes, and take a long breath. "I think there's been some kind of mistake," Derek said, voice soft but firm. "This is my ticket, confirmed through Nova Link." The woman at the counter, a white woman, maybe just under 40, glanced at the screen, then back at him. Her lips pressed tight, the way someone does when they've already been told how to respond. "The system doesn't show your name under our first-class manifest," she said. "Maybe you used reward points, or there was an issue during booking." Behind him, a man's voice muttered just loud enough, "Probably used someone else's miles." A quiet chuckle followed. No one knew exactly where it came from, just the kind of laugh that brushes past, not loud, but sharp enough to remind you don't belong. Derek didn't turn around. His hand still held the ticket, eyes fixed on the line that read, "First Class Boarding, Group 1. Slowly, he placed it on the counter, drew in a breath, and said, calmer than anger, "Could you check with your supervisor or call whoever's in charge of this flight?" The woman nodded but didn't meet his eyes. Around him the line continued moving. Some people tapped on their phones. A few began recording. Derek felt it unmistakably. No one was surprised. No one asked why, as if it had already been assumed that a black man, no matter how sharply dressed, must be in the wrong line. The staff member stepped through a small side door behind the counter. A few minutes passed before she returned, this time with a man wearing a name badge that read, "Area Manager." His eyes landed on Derek for barely a second before shifting straight to the computer screen. "What's your name, sir?" "Derek Hayes." "Could you spell the last name?" "Hayes." The man typed quickly without a word. Then, just like the woman before him, he shrugged. "Sorry, sir. There's no record of your upgrade. Could have been a booking error." "I didn't get an upgrade," Derek said calmly. "I purchased a first-class ticket directly on the company card." The manager didn't respond right away. He scanned the screen again, then replied in that deliberately soft tone that makes one feel like they're being difficult. "All I can tell you is the system doesn't verify your name. If you'd like, we can check with customer service." A woman behind Derek shifted slightly forward. She wore a cream-colored tracksuit and pulled a Louis Vuitton suitcase behind her. Tilting her head, she asked softly, "Is there an issue?" "My ticket. They say they can't find it." "Oh, these systems sometimes mess up with online bookings." A brief pause. "Or something else." Her eyes glanced across Derek's suit, then down to his shoes, then rested on his skin. And just then, a white man in wrinkled khakis and an untucked shirt stepped forward, holding out a crumpled boarding pass. No one questioned him. No one asked him to wait. Just, "Yes, Mr. Brooks, right this way, seat 1D. Derek watched the scene silently. No one needed to say it out loud. The way things were handled was already the answer. At that moment, a female flight attendant emerged from the gate interior. She whispered something to the manager, then glanced quickly at Derek. "Maybe if he dressed differently." "Excuse me?" "Oh, nothing at all." But Derek had heard. He didn't need it shouted. A whisper was enough to know where he stood and what people saw when they looked at him. And then his phone buzzed in his pocket. A message from Novalink's legal team. Just a few words, but crystal clear. We're ready whenever you are. Derek stood still by the boarding signpost. People continued to board. The woman in the cream tracksuit was gone. The man in wrinkled khakis was now waving to a flight attendant at the gate. No one asked Derek anything more. No one even looked at him now, because to them he had already been removed from the picture. He glanced down at his ticket once again. It was still there, clear information confirmed, but no one cared. He unlocked his phone, scrolling to a contact labeled Ava, Legal Ops, pressed call. When the line connected, he didn't waste time. Activate Protocol Cobalt, now. Ava's voice came through, calm and precise. Confirmed. Response level 2, level 3. Understood. That was it. He hung up. No raised voice, no dramatic gestures, but the content of that call would shift the entire situation in under 30 minutes. Just as Derek slipped his phone back into his pocket, a young airline employee passed nearby, casually chatting with a colleague. "Hey, I think some drama's trending right now. Did you check Twitter yet?" 10 minutes later, the official Novalink account posted a statement. "Our CEO, Mr. Derek Hayes, was just denied boarding in first class due to a system error. The real concern? Our internal AI has detected 2,872 prior cases tied to discriminatory practices by this airline. Time to dig deeper." Within 5 minutes, the post had over 10,000 shares. On a nearby passenger's phone screen, Derek saw an image of himself, taken from behind, holding his ticket, standing silently at the counter, now spreading fast. Overlaid text read, "This is what discrimination in a suit looks like." A young college student just a few steps away stared at her screen, then whispered to her friend, "Wait, that guy? He's the CEO of Novalink? No way. Oh my God, this is about to go viral." Derek said nothing. He simply watched the glow of phone screens lighting up in people's hands. His eyes weren't angry, they were still. The kind of stillness that comes before a storm. Another flight attendant appeared, rushing inside the gate. The area manager was now on back-to-back phone calls. No one knew exactly what was happening, but the air around the boarding gate had changed. The atmosphere at the gate began to shift. No longer a steady hum of routine, but scattered rings of phones and urgent whispers. Social media was catching fire. A young airline employee checking boarding passes at the counter discreetly glanced at the phone hidden under the desk. She blinked a few times, then leaned toward her colleague. I just saw Derek Hayes trending on CNN breaking. Is that really him?" "You mean the guy who got denied boarding?" "Yeah, and look at this." She turned her phone. On the screen was a tweet now reposted by multiple major accounts. "This is not a glitch. This is a pattern. Hashtag boarding bias." The attached article detailed numerous incidents involving the same airline, racial profiling in upgrades, ignored complaints, and more. At a cafe a few gates down, an independent journalist looked up from his laptop as a notification flashed. Novalink's AI confirms racial bias trends in major airline developing story. The Verge. Breaking news. He stood up immediately, hastily packing his bag, muttering under his breath, "If that really is Hayes, then this isn't just about a boarding pass anymore." Back at the gate, the area manager returned, face tighter than before. He walked toward Derek, but stopped a few steps away, hesitating. "Mr. Hayes." "Yes? We're currently verifying your booking details. There may have been a system issue." Derek looked at him, not angry, not rushed, just slightly tilting his head. "Oh, a moment ago you said it couldn't be verified. Now you are verifying it? Time to pick a lane, don't you think?" "I just want to clarify the situation." Derek gave a quiet smile, pressed a button on his phone, said nothing else. Moments later, the Novalink legal account posted another tweet. "We have officially filed a request to suspend this airline's flights pending investigation into discriminatory boarding practices. Passengers deserve dignity. regardless of skin color or job title. At the same time, a screenshot from Novalink's internal AI went viral, a flagged keyword graph showing spikes in terms like appearance, upgrade denied, wrong name, doesn't look like business class. The words stood there, an unspoken indictment. A middle-aged man nearby, wearing a polo shirt and reading glasses, let out a breath. Damn, I've flown with them for over 10 years. Never really noticed. A young woman across the hall quietly filmed Derek from afar, added a soundtrack, and posted it on TikTok with the caption, "This man just brought a whole airline to its knees," with a phone call. In the middle of it all, Derek hadn't moved. Hands in his pockets, eyes fixed on the digital screen above. Flight 8812, delayed, pending clearance. There was no siren, no security intervention, no urgent announcements. Just a quiet update flashing across the gate screen. Flight 8812, all boarding suspended. Please wait for updates. An older man looked up and frowned. Delayed again? Maybe the weather? No, I just checked the radar. Skies are clear. And then, like with every digital age scandal, someone put a hand to their mouth, eyes wide, whispering like thunder, "Holy, Novalink just filed for an actual flight suspension." What? With documentation, they're charging the airline with systemic racial discrimination. Behind the scenes at the airline, everything cracked. Emergency PR meetings, internal calls flaring like wildfire. A mid-level customer service supervisor tried to keep calm, but her trembling fingers betrayed her as she dialed. "We need top-down directives. Now, their CEO is here, and this is out of our hands." On social media, boycott, the flight shot to national trending. A video showing Derek standing silently at the gate while chaos unfolded behind him hit 1.2 million views in under 20 minutes. News headlines read, "One black CEO grounds entire airline in under an hour." At the boarding area, Derek's phone buzzed. Caller ID, Victor Lang, CEO, Northbridge Air. He didn't answer right away, waited for 3 rings, then picked up. "Hello?" "Listen to me, Mr. Hayes." "I'm listening." "You're dismantling my entire system." Derek paused, not from hesitation, but to let the words hang there, falling into silence. Then calmly, "No, I'm not dismantling anything. I'm just shining a light where it's been dark." On the other end, Victor Lang exhaled hard. "All right, what do you want? A public apology? Free upgrades for a year? We can work something out." Derek's gaze didn't shift. He looked straight ahead at the gate. Now passengers were whispering again, but this time the glances were different. No more smirks, no more doubt, just recognition. He spoke slowly, each word like a move placed on a chessboard. "I don't want free upgrades. I want your system changed. I want people like me to stop having to lower our heads at check-in." Then he hung up. No further words. On the big screen, the message changed from delayed to pending legal review. All boarding paused. A 10-year-old boy, gripping his little suitcase, looked up and asked his mom, "Mom, who is that man?" "Someone who refused to stay silent. Because they didn't let him board the plane? Because they didn't let him be treated like everyone else." The afternoon light at the airport turned a soft gold. Sunlight slid across the polished stone floors, casting glimmers on rows of untouched suitcases waiting to be rolled away. A new message blinked onto the digital board, this time without a sound. Northbridge Air issues formal apology to passenger Derek Hayes. Internal review and service policy reforms now underway. The air seemed to pause for a beat. A check-in agent, the same woman who had first denied Derek, slowly walked over to him. No one told her to, no one asked her to, but her eyes were red. "I apologize for how I handled things earlier," she said, her voice nearly a whisper. "At that moment, I didn't think too much. I was just following the system. Derek nodded, not angry, not self-righteous. He replied, I understand, but if everyone keeps not thinking too much, then people like me will never get to walk through that gate with dignity. She said nothing more, but her hands tightened around her name badge, like a silent vow to herself. Every small decision counts. Upstairs, Northbridge Air's emergency boardroom meeting ended quickly. Several high-ranking officials signed their resignations. None of them could hold their positions after the public fallout. CEO Victor Lang issued a press statement with lines that had never been seen in the airline's history. We are not only apologizing to Mr. Hayes, we apologize to everyone who has ever walked into our airport and been judged by the color of their skin, their clothing, or unspoken bias. Change begins today. Derek didn't board that flight. A sleek Nova-Link Gulfstream G600 landed quietly at the VIP terminal, dispatched by the emergency operations team. A crew member stepped down, nodding respectfully. Good afternoon, Mr. Hayes. We're ready whenever you are. As he passed by the lingering crowd, still buzzing in low whispers, a young passenger stepped aside to let him through, then spoke, quietly but sincerely. I used to think this kind of thing only happened online. Today, I saw it for myself. And? Derek paused, turning slightly. I won't stay silent anymore. Derek gave a small nod. That's enough. That sentence alone is enough. As the cabin door closed, Derek sank into a soft leather seat and placed a small glass of whiskey by the window. Evening light spilled in, casting his reflection faintly on the glass. Next time, he murmured, they'll think twice before judging anyone by the surface. Thank you for listening.